quite a few people joining us still, quite a few people also on the call worldwide. So let's get started. We'll get started now. My name is Jamie, and I work with Ubiquiti. I'm primarily working on the training side, but now I've got a really special opportunity to be on a very exciting project with SunMax, and that's what our discussion will be about all day today, at least for the next hour. So what I'll do is also just mention thank you to Streakwave for organizing this event. I think we had somewhere in the range of about 1,000 people that were signed up for the call today. So we'll certainly see more people joining throughout the call, and let's get started. Okay, so here's just the agenda, how we'll be proceeding today. To start out, we're talking about the introduction. Like I said, my name is Jamie. I'm working on SunMax now. We have quite a few people actually involved in the SunMax team, very special team of engineers, really smart and dedicated, and they've really put together a very sophisticated product that's simple and easy to use, and will be of great interest to the global solar market for residential customers. So what I want to start out by talking is the solar business opportunity. Well, it looks like I'm not showing my screen right now, so give me one moment to share that with you. Okay. Okay, looks like I'm sharing my screen now, so we'll go ahead and get started now. The agenda for today, right after this brief introduction, we'll start by talking about getting started, what we can get, how to get you as operators and interested parties, integrators alike, get started in the solar residential industry. The next thing that we'll be talking about is the sales and marketing aspect of SunMax specifically. And what resources exist for you guys as operators, and how to really get your foot in the door of customer homes. Also, for the technical people, the install section is very important as well. We'll go over pretty quickly all the different pieces included in the SunMax residential system. I have a colleague that's also on the call, Andrew, who's also working on the SunMax project and team. So I think he'll be helping us with some of the question and answer text, but at the end we'll also have a live voice Q&A for any additional questions that are interesting and should be brought to everyone's attention. Okay, so to get started, let's talk about the solar business opportunity. And what Ubiquiti has done is a really unique strategy. Probably most of you have noticed today that solar is entering an accelerated drive to market right now. Kind of like what the internet industry has done over the last 10, 15, 20 years, solar is now on the cusp of really entering the residential market and really transforming, turning upside down an industry. And SunMax is really pitted to do very well in this regard. So what I wanted to do is just throw out a word or a term that's used quite a bit in the renewable energy market, and that is grid parity. So grid parity is what really happens when the cost of a renewable energy, such as solar or wind or any energy, reaches the same price as the utility costs. So meaning, in simple terms, it's cheaper for you, or just as cheap, to install a renewable energy system at your house, say, rather than get all of your energy from the power company. So what SunMax is doing is it's really accelerating this drive. All of the big solar companies today that are coming in and installing in fleets and in droves, are doing this at a very, very high cost to the customer. And despite that high cost, the customer is still walking away with quite a bit in savings, as much as thousands of dollars in savings. Really what we're doing in our target with SunMax is bring, at least with this first generation of products, a product to market that's incredibly low cost, very simple to use, especially for our target audience, which are internet service providers and people in the networking industry. So people who are perhaps not as familiar with renewables and electricity and the ins and outs of the solar industry. So what we're doing is we're really just accelerating this drive, and as you can see by some of the media here on this slide, the first thing to do is look at your existing customer base and say, which of my customers are really set up for solar, and we'll talk about that quite a bit today. I've also included a slide, or rather a screen grab from some of the reports that we've been doing, and you'll learn in this call today that we've done quite a few marketing strategies to get the word out about SunMax, because at least in the United States currently, where we've been focusing our efforts and where we're now shipping, we have shown that SunMax is a very marketable technology, and in traditionally non-solar states, so places like perhaps West Virginia or Louisiana, or areas where solar was not thought to have reached grid parity, now we're showing, hey, you as an operator can come in, sell at a given cost per watt, much lower than the big solar companies, and walk away with a huge, immense profit. And also, the customer still collects thousands of dollars in savings over the lifetime of their system. So we'll talk about this quite a bit in more detail. But that's just the introduction I wanted to give to you and get us set up for now getting started. So in this section, we're going to be talking quite a bit about the resources that are available, because this is a new, it's really a new industry, but it's a new opportunity, a market that's projected to grow about 50% just next year alone, and all of the things that we as Ubiquiti are taking upon ourselves to make available to you. What have we done so far? The first thing I wanted to bring to your attention, and quite a few of you have already taken advantage of this, are our training courses. Especially for SunMax, we have launched, we've launched an online training course, and it's a free online training course, something we have not previously done with anything else. So immediately that should be a big deal, and it already is. We've seen almost 2,000 people sign up just in the last 2 months alone, which is really a great sign of what's to come for this industry and how you all are receiving the news about SunMax and the solar residential industry. So you can see a few screen grabs that I pulled. Basically, the online course is a series of video lessons and tutorials. At the end of the training, there's a couple of activities, and you can also receive a certificate of completion indicating that you have certified at a specialist level for this online course and kind of have mastery in a few of the topics. So our live training is the next class that we're planning, and this will be a little bit more similar to our existing training courses for those of you that have already taken other Ubiquiti classes. We'll have definitely live demos. We're going to be working with our distributors that are distributing SunMax to get some demo sites set up where you can get hands-on installing, as well as really learn the electrical side. And traditionally, solar has been a pretty complex product to not only sell to the customer, but also just learn and piece together and safely install. And really, like I said, the engineering teams that we have working on this project have kept that in mind. We're trying to get you a simple solution that doesn't consist of a million different parts and is very easy, and all the tools that we made available. So we'll talk about a few more of those, but keep an eye out for this training course coming up probably a little bit later in the year, hopefully as soon as Q2. Our knowledge base. So after you've enrolled in the Ubiquiti online training course, which is training.ubnt.com, definitely head over to the Ubiquiti knowledge base. And this is now being launched on a new site of ours, help.ubnt.com. And so as soon as you get over there, you'll notice a little different theme and feel, and really it's our own site that we're hosting now, and we've got a ton of resources on getting started, how to accelerate your entry into solar. Everything's pretty well organized as well. So if you'd rather just kind of pick and choose what you're learning rather than go through a structured training course, the knowledge base is key. And I definitely recommend picking up the two at the same time simultaneously. Just as background as well, the training course shouldn't take you more than maybe like a day or a weekend to take if you're going through pretty comfortably all of the activities and video lessons. The knowledge base as well has tons of resources, marketing resources as well. We're adding new resources every day. We're updating this section of the site. So really, we're trying to keep in mind who our audience is. We're really targeting the internet service providers, because we know that the same way that you guys go in and disrupt the internet market, we want you to do that with solar, and we're giving you a product that really shakes things up. So to accelerate your entry into solar, one of the first things that you can do is identify in your market maybe a partner who's usually carrying a license or a contractor's license to sell, maintain, and install these systems. And in some cases, you're actually legally required to have this license. There are a couple of different resources we have on our website. One of the things on our forum, so on the Ubiquiti SunMax section of the forum, we have kind of a section where we're adding, allowing contractors to sign up. So we'll be doing some more things here, but you can also see, I believe there's an online database just dedicated to licensed contractors all over the United States. And I'm sure if you spend just a little bit of time looking in your area, you can find somebody. What you'll find out is that this is beneficial because SunMax, if you're just trying to get out there and sell the system immediately, you kind of need to have somebody to make sure that, okay, what I'm doing is safe in the first place. That's our #1 priority. But yeah, just making sure that you're qualified, and then after you've got your first system installed, maybe considering getting your own contractor's license as well. A couple of other resources that are hugely valuable. Right now, we're offering for a limited time a free consultation service. So what we recommend doing is sending your customers' electricity bills, and to the extent that you send us 12 months of bills, that will allow us to prepare a more accurate consultation. But you can see a screen grab here of a couple of 12 months of energy bills that are sent to sunmaxconsult@ubnt.com. Again, that's sunmaxconsult@ubnt.com. And what we do is we prepare a custom design based on your customer's site, like the rooftops. We choose the best scenario for really what will give them the best bang for their buck, and illustrate in details with numbers and figures the estimated net savings, the total return on investment, and the lifetime cost savings with and without, illustrating what the bill would look like with and without SunMax installed. So this is a great resource if you're really just looking to kind of understand how this is, and also take advantage that we're doing it for you. We're taking all the heavy lifting and doing it ourselves. So we'll do this for your customers and take advantage of this service. The next tool I want to discuss is actually a software suite, and it's a really it's a very, very comprehensive platform. It's called Sunlink. So if you go to sunlink.ubnt.com, I know I don't have the URL here on this slide, but it's just sunlink.ubnt.com. And what it starts out with is custom site geometry. Now, as soon as you've analyzed those customer electricity bills, and I'm kind of taking you through the steps of, how do I start marketing solar? Well, first is take a look at those electricity bills, get a good idea of what the annual consumption is for a customer. In the United States, the average customer consumes approximately 11,000 kilowatt hours per year. So the system, let's just say I'm doing this for the average US customer, the system I design should offset as close to 100% of my consumption as possible. So I'm essentially building a system that offsets 11,000 kilowatt hours. To the extent that I get under that, my customer will still be paying some bills at the end of the month, but the discrepancy is less and less to the extent that you create a larger and larger system. So it's a very intuitive tool, very simple to use, and it's available to all operators. As soon as you log in as well with your Ubiquiti accounts and you've created an organization, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but as soon as you've created your account, you're able to save sites and kind of keep track of the process in one central location, and then generate a bill of materials. This is a hugely important and valuable tool because once you've created that bill of materials based on the customer's layout, then you can call up Streakwave or any of the distributors and say, hey, I'd like to place an order for XYZ pieces. And we've got all the part names just listed, the part numbers, and the quantities, suggested quantities as well. Here you can also select your roof type, whether you're working with just a standard composite shingle or a tile rooftop. And we'll look at a few beta installs of customers that were ahead of the curve and have given us feedback, and we've seen several different rooftops already being used, including metal. So yeah, sunlink.ubnt.com. Check it out today. So that's the site design tool, and that's really just one aspect of Sunlink. The second aspect of Sunlink, and this is the customer sales proposal. This is a hugely valuable part of Sunlink as well, because now once you've created a simulated system suggesting to the customer, hey, we're going to offset 90% of your electricity bills for the year. Now what you can do is you can build this proposal using pretty intuitive software that pulls in APIs about the customer's utility rates. Now you can estimate the lifetime cost savings and really give the customer an accurate idea of exactly how much they're going to save down the line. And it's very intuitive, very easy to use software. It's actually being developed by one of our top software developers, and we've been working back and forth for about a couple of weeks now, and it should be ready pretty soon. The unique sales portfolio that you develop here is exportable to PDF, or you can print it out and then carry this to the customer so that the customer can see in very, very simple and plain terms, okay, what is the system that you're selling me? What are my savings? How much does it cost? What's my average monthly payment without solar compared to solar? And then kind of give you an overview of the process. Okay, after you sign this contract, we'll now get started on your permit process. We'll install the system. It'll get inspected by the utility, and hey, you'll be online in no time. So really, Sunlink is just giving you additional resources to carry SunMax into the market and start selling. Sunlink also today has a permit design application element. Now, what this is in certain areas, there is what's called the authority having jurisdiction. And the authority having jurisdiction, or the AHJ, their responsibility is to basically look over your proposed project and make sure that the project is in fact safe and up to standards and properly designed and ready for approval. So each city and region will have their own solar requirements, and so what we're doing is we're kind of equalizing and leveling the playing field. And I don't know any other manufacturer that does something like this, a free service that you send us information about the customer site, take a few photos while you're there inspecting, and then we will put together with our expert design teams a plan drawing with several different aspects, like the electrical drawings, the mechanical drawings, and then for free, all of this for free to take to your authority having jurisdiction, your AHJ, and request the permit cleared to install. So we are very excited to work with you. We have a live chat service on sunlink.ubnt.com. So it's a pretty straightforward process. After you've created the site with geometry, site design, start getting those permits cleared, because they can take anywhere from a couple days to maybe like a couple weeks, just depending on how slow your authority having jurisdiction or the bureaucracy in place. So definitely take advantage of the service, get a head start today, and start speaking with our experts. So SunLink, this is a huge tool. I've mentioned several different resources, and I just want to kind of wrap up that section about getting started by really emphasizing, and this will segue into the sales marketing section, emphasize to you that SunMax is a hugely lucrative, hugely profitable product for integrators, and it's a win-win. It's really when it works for a customer, they can save thousands of dollars, and you can profit just as much with thousands of dollars of profit potential. So the margins are very high on this product. So let's talk about now, who is the ideal solar customer? Because like we said, it's not for everyone, at least not yet with the current system and rules that are in place. The first thing, you have to work with the homeowner. Now, we've seen some people get really creative already, and they're working with, for example, large-scale building contractors that are building an entire development of houses, and they're selling the house with a solar system already built on it. So it's a very interesting strategy that we're seeing. The next thing you really need to see is the property address, because once you see the property address of this customer, meaning you go into SunLink and you can start figuring out whether or not you can offset their electricity bills, also taking a look at the average monthly bill. Now this is going to vary slightly between each market. I'll just throw out a number right now because I think a few of you just want to know, hey, like what should I be looking for? What's the range? In the United States, we look for about $100 per month and say, okay, now that's a pretty hefty bill. We should probably look at getting you a solar system. Now, I should mention that SunMax is a modular system, meaning if you want to install, on only a part of the roof, and then maybe later on down the road you decide, okay, like we should add maybe a few more modules. It's a modular design, so it's great to install everything at once, but you can definitely come back and visit down the line. The next thing to discuss is the roof okay? You need to make sure that the roof is in good enough condition that it would warrant an install, because there's going to be some weight loaded on top of this roof. Also making sure that it's shade-free. So you wouldn't want to install on an area of the roof that's going to be partially or entirely shaded for several hours during the day. In the Ubiquiti training course, gosh, we have videos that talk about virtually every single concept here. So we talk about irradiance, the IV curve. This is a concept where you're looking at what's my peak level of production? How do I get the most production out of my solar energy system? And yes, we look at and visit things, including credit. We talk about what do you need to do to get your customer qualified for a loan if they're not ready to put down a down payment. They just want to get solar on their rooftop. And one of the great things about these loans and financing with SunMax is that in many cases customers can actually pay for their loans with the cost savings. So they're really literally getting a solar system for free and enjoying savings and paying off their loan with the savings. So internet service providers, WISPs. I've mentioned that we designed this system in so many different ways for WISPs, and one of the huge reasons why WISPs are so well set up for this, not only are you guys just yes, more technical than the average guy that's installing solar on people's rooftops, but you also have quite a bit of experience with sales, and you have this entire pool of potential leads. Some of you guys have tens of thousands of internet subscribers. So you can take advantage of this reputation that you already have with these customers. Just pick up the phone, how's your internet? And they have, it's doing great, thanks for calling. During a service visit, you install a free radio upgrade to get your foot back in the door, and all of a sudden you're on their roof, you're taking pictures, and you're talking about all the savings that you can offer them. So taking advantage of your existing customers is a hugely important lead, and we have quite a few marketing materials I'll talk about in the next slide that will let you reach out to new customers and build your lead base. The SunLink software is really well set up to capture your leads as well. With the SunLink site design, you create multiple sites and store all of your sites inside, and can really keep track of the install process as well and how your permits are being cleared. But a smart sales pitch applies to any customer, whether it's their existing or new. And the customers that go solar are really doing this for the economic reasons. So a solar system, it could cost anywhere from $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, which granted is a fraction of the cost of what competitors are selling solar at. So SunMax we have this big database of what we think you should sell your system at. If you sell it at $2 per watt, here's what profit you'll make, and here's what your customer savings will be. But really just showing to them the economics of solar. And we've done that in the knowledge base, we've done that in the training course. There's several resources you can pick up and already start looking. Also the customer electricity bills. There's so many resources we've made available to you guys to prove the investment here and really show how SunMax is going to turn upside down this industry. So the marketing side, we have quite a few advertising kits. Some of you guys actually took advantage of this with the wireless initiative and use these advertising materials to custom brand your company and get word out about, hey, we're a competitor. We offer internet service. So you can do that now with solar. We have a number of great flyers, brochures, banners that we've also added to our knowledge base. They're immediately available for download that you can customize, source files as well. And then we'll be adding these to the market side, the advertising section of the Air CRM market, so that you can customize within the system. So sales and marketing, we've talked about how economics are the number one way to actually sell your system. Green, go green, that's all great, but it's kind of secondary for what the customer mindset is. So there's two things that I want to just quickly throw out there and introduce to you that are very important in the the solar industry. The first one is cost savings, and the next one is incentives. Cost savings are the savings that the customer makes by not paying their energy bills. So if the customer is offsetting 90% of their energy bill, well, they're saving approximately 90% on what they would be paying for their electricity bill. So this can amount to tens of thousands of dollars over the lifetime of the system. And cost savings are such an important part of the solar system. In fact, they're the principal reason for why you get a solar energy system. This is where all the economics happen. And yes, yeah, net metering is a program that allows grid-tied customers to offset their energy bill, often at like a near 2 or 1-to-1 rate. So that's one thing you really want to check, is does your market support net metering? And in pretty much all the states in the United States, I believe it's like around 47 or 48 of the states and territories, all support net metering programs today. You'll read and follow in the news that a couple of markets are experiencing some pushback, so you need to be aware of what your market is and what the trends are, and you know, pitch an honest sale to your customer. But by and large, like I've mentioned, grid parity is occurring for the U.S. market, for the world markets as well, and yeah, solar is primed right now. This is the time to start installing the equipment. The equipment costs are very low, and over the next 20, 25 years, the lifetime of the solar energy system, or 30 years, utility rates are going to continue to increase, which, you know, places these cost savings as such a valuable investment to protect, you know, customers against these rising energy costs. So the second aspect is incentives, which really are savings. These are just boosts or bonuses that really just encourage the customer to act now and install the system today rather than waiting down the line. One of the first incentives you'll always hear about is the ITC, the Federal Investment Tax Credit. It's a tax credit offered in the United States, and many different world governments are offering this as well. In the U.S., it's a 30% tax credit. So if you spent $10,000 on the system install, not just the cost of the system, but the actual install, so what you charge the customer, let's say you charge them $10,000, and yeah, that they would receive 30% off the cost of their system when their tax return comes. So that's a huge incentive that definitely everyone wants to take advantage of. So there's really been no better time for solar. I should point out that the customer, the state outlooks, the reports that we put together that are available immediately on our knowledge base, prove that SunMax works without any consideration for state incentives. So definitely look out for state incentives as well, because they'll further reduce your costs and improve the return on investment for the customer. Financing methods. This is you know, separate from the internet industry where you're kind of selling a product that you're getting recurring monthly revenue. Customers are actually having to invest quite a bit of money into a system, whether they opt for cash purchase or loans that will have an effect on not only their ROI, but what their costs are immediately in the short term and long term. So cash purchase is what it sounds like. You, if the customer has the funds available, definitely take advantage of it. In both cases, cash purchase and loans, these are the two financing methods that we encourage, and compared to the other financing methods offered by Big Solar, these are really the best methods for the end user and offer the maximum amount of savings. So when structured properly, a loan can actually offer significant return on investment as well. We're still talking tens of thousands of dollars without any upfront costs. And like I said, the actual savings, so if they're saving hundreds per month, you know, on their energy bills, or you know, even tens of dollars per month on their energy bills, they can be using that to pay back the principal and the interest on their loan. So yeah, definitely take advantage of our SunMax consult at ubnt.com. Send us your electricity bills, and we'll explain to you kind of the return on investment if you were to go solar today, whether cash purchase or loan, and show you a different types of loans that are available. And if you're looking for a financing partner in the United States, we've already started to identify a group of nationwide partners that offer competitive, easy solar loans. So you can get started by downloading some of the materials, reviewing those, and then there's easy steps to get enrolled into a program and start signing up your customers and qualifying them as soon as possible. Okay, I think we're right where I kind of wanted to be for the presentation. We have about 25 minutes left, so I'm going to go through the install section now, and then we'll head into kind of like a verbal Q&A. What I wanted to do is just kind of kick off and talk about the install side really briefly. Like I said, the engineer teams that are involved with SunMax have done an incredible job. Shortly before I came on to the SunMax project, I was kind of where most of you guys are. I didn't have any experience with SunMax or solar in general, and so I did some training courses on my own time and kind of got up to speed. And I saw all these different manufacturers and vendors, and it was interesting. A lot of the professionals in the industry were mixing and matching different vendors with different pieces, and I thought, wow, this is incredible. It's super complex. Why is it so difficult, to find a one size fits all system? And that's what SunMax is. It's a one size fits all grid tied residential solution. And I keep coming back to the engineer teams because they have done such a good job. They've put out this system compared to some of the other systems that have anywhere from 10 to 15 to more pieces and mixing and matching different vendors. There's maybe 8 different pieces and general pieces that you can, it's super straightforward, super easy with SunLink, the design software, and all of our training courses. We really break down for you what each piece is, and I'll do that actually right now. I'll just kind of go through what all the pieces are and describe how simple the install process is. And we also have some feedback from our customers that have already installed today. So just as kind of background, the SunMax system, as I've said, is a grid-tied solar solution, and it's really targeted for the home energy market, but there's no reason why you can't sell it in the commercial, industrial space. We've got several consultation requests to look at, hey, I've got this factory, or hey, I've got this large warehouse where I want to put the panels, and we show them hundreds of thousands of dollars they can save. But really, we're targeting the home market because it's a pretty simple system that anybody can install. And I say anybody because it really, I think once you learn, you take the training course, it's a lot of the fears go away, and you really understand, hey, this is not too bad. But this is the system. Starting on the left and moving to the right, you have the SunMax array, which is all the panels or modules all together on top of the roof, connected via this black trunk cable, and you'll see a small white box. This is called the end run. If you're familiar with the solar industry, they refer to this kind of as the home run, but it kind of makes sense to people who are also not familiar with the industry. This is the end run. So you're transitioning here from your solar cables now to home wiring. Okay, so at some point on top of the roof or inside the attic, you're transitioning to these home wires that will then connect to the customer main panel. This goes by tons of different names, and hopefully the illustration is good enough to clearly indicate that this is like a breaker box or a panel board, whatever you want to call it, distribution, load center. And once you've transitioned with this end run, now you're really just running breakers back to the box that are hooking in, and this is called a load side connection. So the majority of U.S. customers and even some world customers will definitely see that this is a common, simple, easy way for people. You don't need to come in and have a 40-year electrician design this crazy system. No, we've really come out with this simple system that gets installed on the roof. You run this cable box, end run box to transition back to the main panel, and just work with the electricity company to begin net metering or counting your energy. So essentially what's happening is during the day, you might not be home, but your panels, they're producing electricity. So the electricity that you're producing is immediately available for loads. And you can see on the far right side, there's a sample load. So let's say I have a lamp that's turned on in my house or something like a washing machine. As long as I'm producing power, that power now is being drawn from my solar energy system. And so I'm not being counted I'm not being charged by the utility because all that power is coming from the solar system. Now, what happens when I'm not home and I'm not using energy, or I am using energy, but I'm producing more than I'm actually using? And it's kind of like water pumps, the analogy of solar. When you're producing more than you're consuming, that excess or surplus production goes out to the grid. So all of that excess power goes out to the grid, and under a net metering agreement, now your net meter starts counting backward and starts saying, okay, we're going to credit you for all these kilowatt hours of energy that you produce during the day, so that when you come back at night, and this can even carry over to your next billing period, now you've got all this energy stored up, and we'll issue you credit. So you're getting your true value of your solar energy system. So there's a few things you need to look at, and once you've done one of these solar energy systems for one customer in your area, it all really becomes easy and a lot of repetition to it, because you've already looked at it for one customer and you're aware of all the caveats and how your utility is structured. So the electricity requirements, like I said, it's a very simple system consisting of panels, this end run that connects back to the main panel, and then that energy is immediately available at the customer house. There's a few more technical things that you should definitely look at on the knowledge base. I won't get into them now, just for all intents and purposes. But now I'm going to go through pretty quickly and just talk about each piece. Here on the left side, we're selling today 260 watt DC panels, meaning they produce DC power. Once they're connected to the microinverter on the underside, the power is converted to AC, and the AC power then passes through what are called trunk cables. Okay, I'll get to those in, I believe, the next slide, or it's coming up. But yeah, it's a very simple design and very beneficial. If you have partial shading on the roof, or you start seeing clouds in the sky, compared to like string inverters where one panel is producing low, so all the panels start producing low. These microinverter systems don't go with the weakest link. So kind of like AirMax, but okay, don't want to go there. AC cabling. Interconnect modules using these cables. They're called Y cables. You can see on the right-hand side, depending on the layout of your panels, whether it's landscape or portrait, you're going to have different size cables to connect, but it's really, I want to use this word, plug and play, because that's what it is. Once you've installed the panels, you're reaching under the panels as you go and plugging them in, plugging and chugging, plugging as you go. Cable clips, they just secure the trunk cabling underneath the module to make sure that it's in place. Roof mats, these are crucial. These support the weight of the structure and keep it in place, and they're installed on the rafters. I'm sure there's quite a few different names for these in each country, but yeah, this is as you're going through like the permit design application, we explain all of the requirements to install, and there's tons of examples that describe, hey, how do I find where the rafters are on the customer home, and we've got all the video tutorials that explain how to install these. Trim kits, this really is like I guess we're on the fourth piece. This is on the first row of your array, and it just kind of hides all the cabling for people who are down on the bottom. It also makes it just quite a bit easier to begin to install the modules, and it's a very simple design, very elegant, very sleek. The mounting assemblies, what these do is they kind of look like feet, and that's really what they are. They just keep the modules in place. That SMPC part is responsible for keeping the panels structurally connected in middle sections and throughout the array. Actually, you see several different examples of where the panel connector is used, and it also bonds the system so that you have grounding on the system and equipment grounding. The solar gateway, this is a piece that just installs with the trunk cabling, kind of plug and play like I've mentioned. What it does is it allows you to, first off, it monitors and communicates with all the microinverters in the system. So you have one solar gateway for your entire array, whether you have 20 or 30 or 40 panels, you really only need one solar gateway. Currently, this is connects to the customer network via Ethernet cable. We'll also have a Pico version available probably very soon, and that will allow you to wirelessly connect to the customer network. And yeah, it doesn't need to be connected with trunk cabling, so it could be in the attic, for example. So operations and monitoring. This is another opportunity for recurring revenue. For those of you who like the idea of huge profits, solar is definitely for you, and there are opportunities to upsell, like whether you're offering the monitoring solution, whether you're offering like a cleaning, like a routine maintenance inspection. Yeah, plenty of ways to make long-term profit off of this, as well as huge lucrative short-term profits. So quick site provisioning. You just scan QR codes with your mobile device. We have one for iOS and for Android. As you're installing the panels, and the panels will then appear in your SunMax account online. So you can track in real time, look at the history of your panels. You know, if you had like a rainy or a cloudy day, you'd see lower production, etc. I should mention that the microinverters, and I'm sure we'll probably get a question about this, the microinverters are really designed for safe operation, which is a requirement in most of the markets. So if the grid is not producing any power, let's say that the grid goes offline for maintenance, then the microinverters shut down as well, so that anybody that's working on the grid will not get electrocuted. So you'll see times during the day where if the microinverter goes down, well, it could have been because there was maintenance work, power outages, for example. Should not be common if you're in a good power infrastructure region, but just something to keep in mind. The end run connector, this is like probably the last piece to present to you guys, because this installs at the end of the array. So there is one end run connector for each array of 16 panels. If you want to have 17, 18 panels, that's fine. You will need to, but you can't install more than 16 modules on a single end run, and that's really for ampacity reasons. Just making sure that you're not having too much current on your end run. Okay, so just to wrap up the install section, look at a couple of different examples. This was an install in Visalia, California, Southern California, 4x4 landscape on a tile roof. The customer said, "I can't say enough about this solution. Design was well thought out and easy to deploy." I was personally involved in this install, and yeah, it was a great install. Went pretty smoothly, straightforward. It took us, I believe, with all the documenting that we were doing, it took us about a day to do the tile install, and that was 16 panels. I think what will happen is, as you guys sell the systems and install the systems, what you'll notice is that you become experts very quickly, and instead of having 3-4-man teams that are all learning together on the roof for your first installs, now you're doing this very, very rapidly, 2-man teams. Here's an install in Orange, California. So another Southern California install. And I should mention that we've done, there's kind of a unspoken, I guess, myth in the solar industry. people think that, hey, like just because I'm in like Washington or Minnesota or Maine, somewhere where we don't get too much sunlight, that we can't install SunMax. And that's not true. In places like Germany, where it's even lower or close to the irradiance rating as a place like Washington or Minnesota, they're actually one of the leaders in solar production in the world. And so it's really just a question of grid parity. And SunMax is a product that you know, brings grid parity to virtually every market that it's sold in. And the customer mentioned on this, installed panels in the morning, upgraded the main panel to finish the end run in the same afternoon. It was a quick install. The last one, this was on a metal roof. So we looked at a shingle roof, we looked at a tile roof, and the customer said install took 4 hours. Device adoption was super easy, anxious to expand my array. Like we said, it's a unique design, modular in concept, and yeah, this one now in rural Indiana. So places where you would see kind of you know, traditionally non-solar states, places where, you know, the energy costs are lower. Now we're getting to like the 9-10 cent per kilowatt hours, where big solar can't sell. Now SunMax can, and you guys can start disrupting those markets. So all of this I've been presenting to you, hugely important resources. The documentation, our documentation team did an excellent job putting together very comprehensive guides, not only in the user guide, but also in the data sheets as well. So definitely take advantage of those data sheets. There's a lot of good information in there, explaining the use case for each piece and part. The training courses, as we've mentioned. Here's some video tutorial snapshots we've shown. Yeah, and if you just want to look for a video that we've got a list of all the videos stored in our knowledge base that you can just go check out as well. So an overview, start to finish solar. This list looks a little bit long, but after you do the first, kind of go through the motions the first time, it now really becomes just a routine plug and play thing, like our expert teams, when they put together these customer proposals, they're able to do so in, you know, just a matter of minutes, whereas the first time they did it, okay, I got to learn this process, it takes me about an hour. So you're looking at a few days of just training, doing the training course, but we've made it super easy for you guys. So get out there, get trained, take the online certification. I should mention that Streakwave has informed me they're offering a discount to customers that can prove that they have taken the online training course. So definitely there's some incentive there from a cost standpoint to take that training course, and I think they're thinking, hey, like probably you guys will be able to answer a lot of your questions if you take the training course. So I'm not sure what the details are, but I can inform you that we will include some instructions for proving that you've taken the training course over in the SunMax forum. Okay. And also Corinne has just let me know that they'll be sending out information about the promo that they're doing shortly after the call. Okay, so just start to finish. Definitely team up with a contractor if you don't have your own license, or an electrician to sell and install locally. It could be a requirement in your area. You know, after you get familiar, just start doing this by yourself. Sales and marketing. Yeah, research the cost savings in your area. Get a good idea and understanding of in your market. Okay, what are the electricity bills we should be looking at? What's our rate structure? You know, all you got to do is learn it for your region, and we've essentially, in a small team, we've pretty much figured out in every market in the United States how to effectively market SunMax. So if we can do it, you can do it on a very local level. Sunlink tools, we've got geometry design, so go ahead, once you've got the electricity bill in mind, you know what their annual consumption is, go ahead and design a system for them. Pitch the customer proposal, show them the pricing and the return on investment, all of their savings, and then we have a couple of different resources on the knowledge base as well. Sample loan contracts, sample install contracts for basically the terms of contract to close the sale and make your profit. So get the equipment based on that bill of materials that Sunlink produces for you. And I can't emphasize enough, bill of materials, Sunlink, that is a huge tool. So sunlink.ubnt.com. Then take advantage of our permitting application. Our expert teams will create that design for you so that you can get it off to the permit authority. Get the permit in hand, install, select a date, schedule with the customer, your contractors, if you have any on your team. After you've installed, contact the excuse me, the local utility to get an interconnection agreement in place for net metering, and then you're ready to start, commission the unit. Operations and maintenance for long-term, make sure that they're provisioned and keep track of the system. So I know I took a little bit more time than I wanted to here in the install section, but I think it was pretty valuable, and I just want to say beforehand, thank you for your patience, thanks for listening, and now we'll kind of go through some questions. We have about 4 minutes before 11. I'll probably stay on maybe extra, we'll just field out, so I come over here to questionnaire so I can see my mouse. Okay, I'm going to start here at the bottom. From what I gathered, the end run is AC voltage. Does Ubiquiti have an end run that is DC? Okay, just to quickly answer, the SunMax system is grid-tied solution. And being on the grid, it's an AC solution. Okay, we don't currently have any battery solutions, which would be very interesting from a WISP side, but it's something we're definitely exploring. But this is a residential project. So being a residential project, it's AC voltage. And learning from this question, I'm going to answer much more quickly going forward. From Steve Disher, how much efficiency is lost converting DC to AC in the microinverter? Any plans for energy storage at night, and what would that look like? Plans for energy storage, again, that comes back to the batteries. And just to kind of field this question for other people so I can answer more quickly, batteries are really not where the technology of grid-tied solar is. So again, grid-tied solar, no batteries, just connects right into the grid, and you have net metering agreements in place. Battery technology is really not there. It's getting closer. The efficiency, the costs are coming down, and you can be sure that as soon as we are there from a residential perspective, we will be hot on it. And wish I could say more on the WISP side, but it's something we're looking at, and sooner rather than later. Okay. Regarding the efficiency question, that would be a good question to ask on the forum with the engineer teams. Okay, from John, I'm just going to say first names. Let's see, John, I am a little confused how we're calculating SunMax is half of the competitive solution, apples to apples. Quoting that figure, the customer calls a competitor, laughs at us, calls our, okay, so basically we're quoting SunMax to the competitors, and they think that it's BS and stupid. And yeah, I agree. It's pretty crazy how much we're undercutting the competitors, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're I wouldn't be surprised if they're just laughing it off and hoping that they can just laugh and shrug it off. But you guys are aware of the costs. And from Brian, any partnerships for products storing energy off grid? Okay, again, yeah, we're not there yet with battery technology. Existing solar contractors from Riley, sorry. Do you have any sort of exclusive relationship with SunMax Ubiquiti in order to sell it? No. Anybody can buy the system. It's definitely geared toward contractors. I will say that pricing is hidden from end users, so you need to be logged in as like a Ubiquiti customer on Sunlink in order to see the bill of materials, and then request that from Streakwave or whoever you're buying it from. From Javier, it's possible that we receive the presentation data sheets via email. Data sheets are on downloads.ubnt.com or ubnt.com/downloads. Presentation, we can explore, yeah, maybe we can post it. Tina, my question is getting a list of all the resources available online. Okay, so Tina, I would just recommend going to our knowledge base. Okay, in the beginning of either the there's a couple different routes you can go, and you're going to get all of the materials anyway. The forum, so community.ubnt.com, go to the SunMax section. We've laid it all out. Or you can just go to the knowledge base, help.ubnt.com. We've got all of the materials there as well, and the training course, training.ubnt.com. Rodrigo, not sure what the question is here. The rest will be down here in Brazil. Yeah, okay, I think the question is, when will we sell in Brazil? Yes, hopefully very soon. We're working with lots of resellers worldwide, including Europe right now. We're getting samples out and should have those markets stocked with inventory soon. Okay. Jork, translating this, there's a problem with the devices. Okay, is there any problem with the devices where water can fall on them? No, these are weatherproof. In fact, things like the cables and end run enclosure, the gateway, they're all IP, I think like 65 or 67. That's in the data sheet, so weatherproof. From Barry, is there any adjustment of angle of panels, including on the mount? No, these do not have any adjustments for tilt. Obviously, you can install it on any angle, any roof, but it's fixed to the pitch of the roof. And you might think that's a big deal because you're going to see a huge change in irradiance, so your production will increase. But actually, no. Shading is the big one, and the alignment, so using a south-facing rooftop if you're in the North Hemisphere and vice versa. Okay, see a few more questions about batteries. I'm going to skip over these ones. Let's see, from Brian, added a few addresses of homes, nothing shows. If I refresh, I'll get black header. Okay, so just make sure that you, when you're putting in the address on sunlink.ubnt.com to do site design, make sure that you're starting to put in the address. So if you're putting in 1234 Fake Street, okay, and the result is like 1234 Fake Streets, but it abbreviates streets, okay, just go with what the suggested address is, okay. Edmund, is this U.S. only? No, we are shipping to U.S. and world markets in the coming weeks, and yes, keep an eye out for. On the forum, we have a KB article that mentions each distributor that's carrying inventory today. So look for that one. Also, I think under the frequently asked questions section, it's what is the availability of SunMax? Okay, so Bernardo has asked, where is the customer sales proposal? And again, that is in development right now. We should see that in the coming days. We will have that available for you guys. But going forward, you have everything else, and you should be able to effectively pitch even without the customer sales proposal. Audio stopped working. No sound. Oh, maybe I had some lost packets or my connection went down. Okay, Bruce, could I get a copy of the slides? Yeah, again, oh, you know what? That brings an interesting point. So Streakwave has mentioned to me that they are recording this session, and it will be either published somewhere, maybe their YouTube page. They will probably send out an email to you guys after indicating. Okay. Okay, David, please let me know. VP of Sales, not sure what that one's about. Okay. Going to come back down. Let's see if we have any more new questions. Okay. Okay. I just want to start right where the questions are. Okay, so from Tyler, if you aren't exceeding 16 panels total, can you have multiple home runs go into one 20 amp breaker? That's a really good question. So just thinking, if you aren't exceeding 16 panels total, you wouldn't want to have multiple home runs. So if you aren't exceeding 16 panels total, so let's say you have maybe 10 panels, and I assume you're a US customer, so you have line 1 and line 2 that are feeding into the breakers on your main panel, you would just have one end run. So if you have more than 16 panels, then you would need at least two for each 16 panels. So up to 32, you'll need 2. Up to 48, my math starts to get bad after that, but divisible by 16, you need an end run. From Michael, battery. I'm sure it'd be very easy to tie this battery setup, much like remote cell towers. Yeah, we're not saying it's impossible. You can certainly experiment and tie in like a battery system. You need some DC infrastructure in place behind the customer panels. That's up to you, but you'll see that the cost will very quickly rise with battery solutions. So what kind of from Austin, what kind of contractor license is required to do business? It really just depends. You've mentioned a C10 license. I've seen that one in certain markets, like I think California. You'll just need to make sure that wherever you're selling, you've checked with the local government. So what I recommend is just going on Google search, contractor's license, solar, and then the name of your city or your state. Also, same question from C. Olson. How do we find out what licenses are needed here? Yeah, so Google search, that's usually will give you an instant result. From Jeff, does each panel need a separate inverter? Yes, Jeff. These are microinverters on the back side of each panel. It's not, so there's kind of 2 major systems out there today. There's a central inverter system and there's a microinverter system. So the microinverter system has lots of benefits. I won't go into them now, but yes, each panel needs its own inverter. Operating and monitoring solution from David. Okay, operating and monitoring solution. Where is internet connectivity coming from? Yes, the customer would have to have internet connectivity from their home, which for WISPs is probably not a big deal because you guys are selling mostly to your existing customers at first, and hey, there's another opportunity for upsell. If they don't have internet connectivity, you say, wait, we can't monitor you? Okay, let's get you internet too. Okay. A couple of other questions. I'm just gonna got maybe 2 or 3 minutes left. From David, I want to know about the warranty of the solar module. Great question. I didn't mention the warranties in here, but they are laid out in clear terms on the knowledge base. Just to give you an idea and a heads up, microinverters have a limited warranty for, I believe, 10 years. The panels themselves have a performance warranty, 10 years for 90% performance and 25 years for 80% performance, meaning if it's producing under that rating outside of that time window, within that time window, then yes, we'll replace it for you. And we will cover the warranties as well. I think the other parts are standard, like 1 to 2 year warranties. You'll have to check the details there. Being grid tied from Dave, is there any equipment? Yes, is there any equipment to ensure no backfeed or voltage is down the power line, putting the power company personnel at risk? Yes, Dave, I mentioned that the microinverter performs at safe operation. I believe there's don't remember the particular test report. I think it's different for each market, but yes, this is a requirement in pretty much every country that if you have a microinverter or a system that's backfed into the customer infrastructure, yes, it's a requirement that you safely shut down, and the SunMax microinverters safely shut down. Okay, from Zeman, I'm going to take about 3 more questions, and we will definitely, there's lots more questions here. Definitely check out on the forum, check out on our knowledge base. Okay, so from Zeman IT, so this solution jumps back and forth between solar and standard electrical, like a hybrid solution. I'm not totally clear what the hybrid solution is. I think maybe you're referring to like batteries, but this is a grid-tied solution. Oh, I think I understand. Do my customers receive 2 bills once implemented? No, no, no. The system that we're selling, and it's different from, it's a very straightforward system. Big solar players, they kind of offer these financing methods like PPAs, for example, where they become effectively the second power company. So um, rather than just pay your standard electricity bills, now you're in some agreements paying the big solar company. So we're not doing that. We're just manufacturing the system. We're giving it to you to market at a very, very low cost to your customers. And yes, you essentially install it, and they're still paying whatever difference to the same electricity company. From Adam, this is probably a good one to finish with. Was this session recorded? Yes, it was. Streakwave will be reaching out shortly after. Just want to thank everybody again for their time, for their patience, and really looking forward to working with you guys on this project. We're very excited. There's a lot of opportunity here, lots of business for you guys, lots of potential. So thank you again, and good luck.